And I wonder, within our audience in 94 countries, how many variations of this saying there are, because there's probably hundreds in, other languages and cultures, and that's super interesting. Whereas in my culture or my upbringing, it was kind of just applied blanket. The saying could apply to any situation. It wasn't limited to relationships. If children don't have consequences, then why would they take responsibility for their actions? And then if we have a world of people that aren't taking responsibility for their actions, what kind of world have we got?
I think we are maybe missing one part here, and maybe that is the insight from the consequences, because consequences themselves, I think, are not enough to support our growth. I understand we're recording podcasts here, but I think I'm going to share something here.
What does that say?
I translated it, and it says, don't judge people because you don't know the troubles they go through. Consequences.
Just for your editing later, that was from 17 minutes to 24.
So consequences, how you make your bed. The consequences are irrelevant. At the end, I believe it's more important what we learn from them. The consequences, I think, are the bridge to learning and gaining insight. So I think, after me seeing this video earlier this morning, because the consequences themselves without the learning experience may be considered a punishment. But when we start shifting,
feel like that sometimes.
I agree. Now, but when we can shift from experiencing it as a punishment and rather see it as an invitation to learn and grow and evolve, I believe that and I think so clearly, that we arrive at the other end much faster. And we will not need to be delivered the same and same over and over and over again as consequences, because the over and over comes only when we don't learn from it. So the consequence itself is not completing the task.
Yeah, I agree with that. So what we're saying is that, to go back to the title of our episode, "You've made your bed, now you must lie in it," is the full English saying that I grew up with. We're saying that means that you need to take responsibility for your actions, the consequences that follow, and then also look at those consequences. Whereas the lesson for us within that.
That's it.
I love it.
When there are humans who have the tendency to see themselves as victims, as a pattern, seek the solution in other people's changes or circumstances changing, the lesson is still so far away, and the consequences are there in front of their nose. So I'd like to inspire to have a look, okay, what may be the lesson in this? And I go back to an earlier episode. Don't ask me which number. Kathy is the one who knows that, maybe by head, just like instantaneously, where we spoke about, and maybe not only one episode, but maybe even more episodes. I believe in language, and I believe in a subtle, gentle way how language is giving us hints. And when I say the word responsibility, my ability how I respond to circumstances, my ability how I respond to the choices I made. was the best decision of my life. But 5 minutes ago, I decided it was the worst decision of my life. I'm just making this up. Then it is me who only can take the full responsibility. So I am the one who is being asked, how am I able to respond to my new thinking, my new finding, my new feelings, my new emotions? People change, life changes. What do I do with it? So the consequence, when we now go back to a different aspect, let's say how we raise our children, and then we utilize consequences as punishment, it fails the purpose of the lesson. Now, when we think about a lesson, when we look for the lesson to be learned, when we look for the task that can be accomplished, when we look for, okay, in my own evolution, individually, subjectively, what is it that's my calling? What is it that's to be learned right now? Or what is it that is offered to me that I can acquire knowledge of or insight, looking inside? The word is just beautiful, the language. Which boot camp are you in right now? Instead of looking at the consequences, what is it that I'm about to learn here? Like when I'm online and I'm waiting online, standing in line at a natural, physically in a store, or when I'm on hold on the phone, and it's really getting on my nerves because some companies are really, to me, it appears like in a competition for the worst sound and the worst music choices that's possible available on this earth. Nevertheless, then I think to myself, oh, is it now a punishment? No, I consider it, okay, wow, I'm in a boot camp of patience right now. What is it that I can learn here? I do believe when I offer myself to the circumstance, by going into it willingly and say, I'm ready, I'm open to learning, what's the lesson? Then I will not consider it as a punishing / consequence anymore. So again, it goes back. Maybe now you remember the episode. We can make a contest. Who remembers this episode? Attitude. It's my attitude. Who is in power of my attitude? I am. Where is it empowering? Here, within me, I'm empowering myself. That's my responsibility, my ability to learn how to respond to outer circumstances that appear that I cannot change. There are circumstances I cannot change. When there's full moon, there's full moon. When there's high tide, there's high tide. When there comes a storm, there's a storm. I cannot change these, but I can choose how I'm responding to it. My ability to respond. And when we notice that, then I will be much more conscious, not cautious, but conscious about what bed I'm making. When it comes to relationships, when it comes to work, when it comes to my neighborhood, when it comes to the choice of my car, when it comes to the choice of the studies I'm interested in, and so forth. And then we are fully responsible, because that is actually, I believe, one of the greatest tasks here during lifetime on earth, that we become responsible, able to respond.
The attitude of, what am I learning here? Where is the lesson? How can I understand better? How can I respond better? How can I be affected less, I guess, by negative things around me that may be happening? Certainly being on the phone for an hour is not new in Australia either. And ironically, it's usually when you're trying to contact your telecommunications provider. Yes, that terrible hold music. And it is frustrating. But, I think I've learned to cope by having a something else to do while the phone's sitting on hold, or, mitigate the consequences with my own actions somehow. But at the end of the day, you're right. It is all a learning experience. It is the way we look at things. And yes, we certainly did do an episode on attitude, it was 133.
There you go. Bravo, bravo. Understanding those who are watching us via video, understanding I can stand under it. I stand under it, meaning I can carry it. Meaning that is when it's no longer breaking me, torturing me, it's too heavy, it's making me small. But when I can understand it, I can carry it, and I can still walk with a straight spine and my head up, chin up, however you want to consider, then that is understanding. I got it. And then the fear disappears in addition to that, because no longer do I fear when I'm going to be another hour on the phone, on hold, listening to horrible sound quality and horrible sound choices or music choices to my taste. When I already pick up the phone, oh no, and now I need to be on the hold again because I'm calling my phone company or the insurance company, or, this is a list of companies in this competition of the worst sound and wait times, then it depends on my attitude, how I'm going to experience that. And why would I set myself up, making your bed and then you lay in it? Why would I do that to myself, that I'm already picking up the phone and and then I'm getting angry at that phone. And then my attitude will be like, this human on the other end, it's not their responsibility. It's not their fault how long I was on hold in line. They do their job. They make a living. Why would I then have them feel the consequences of me being upset because I was on hold, because I cannot handle my responsibility of being able to respond to circumstances that are out of my control? And one last thing, the bed. You made your bed and you must lay in it. I disagree. If the bed is uncomfortable, get out.
I'm not sure that we can just change a centuries-old saying, but, whatever, sure.
I'm not changing the saying. I'm changing the attitude towards the saying. Because when I believe that sentence to be true, or that saying to be true, it puts me in a certain mood. Meaning, okay, so I choose now, I'm studying law, and now I must be a lawyer for the rest of my life. Bull manure. Because I can change my choice and I can choose in the meantime. Okay, I wanted to be an attorney or study law at that point in time. I 100% agree that that was my choice then. And today I found the love for food, and now I'm going to be a food composer. I found my love for music, and I'm going to be a composer for film music or for anything else. Or I'm doing sound architecture for projects. Hint, hint. Or I'm going to change my attitude toward my work life, because only because I choose that I'm going to be a baker doesn't mean and doesn't condemn me to be the baker for the rest of my life. If your bed that you laid in is no longer comfortable, get out, make yourself another bed, and look at the lesson. When you get the lesson and you find the insight inside, you're good to go.
Now, I understand that sometimes we can get stuck in circumstances and it can feel like things are outside of our control. But I would argue that there's always little choices. There are always little ways to take control back. And the key in that is the responsibility, the ability to respond. That is always within our control. And it is everywhere, in every single part of our life. Our mindset matters. And the more that you have control over that, and the more that you consider your ability to respond rather than react, the more power you have within yourself. And I can tell you for a fact, guys, that the last 2.5 years of doing this recording has changed me for the better, hands down, without a doubt. And I came into this thinking that I knew what I was doing. And I have learned so much in this process. That's how I know that it will help you guys out there too, because it's helped me.
Other people are not under my control. The moment I want to put other people under my control, it's forceful, no natural growth possible, period. You can choose natural growth or force. And then there will be consequences. When, let's say, I want to be friends with my neighbors, and let's say my neighbors just suffer assholeitis, which is luckily not the case. But let's say it was the case. Then do you really believe that they're going to change because I want to have a great relationship with my neighbors? They're not. I can change my neighborhood by moving away or moving on. So we can be a lot and we can do a lot, but I'd limit it to what is in my power, because otherwise I set myself again up for the circle and the spiral downwards of victimhood.
I actually think this has been a bonza episode, Daisy, and it's been a bit of an extra long one too. So bonus time for you guys. Please do make sure you watch that little video. It will touch you, and it's certainly important in this conversation. So that's it from us today. Please visit us at boldandblonde.live. Go and listen to our early episodes. Contact us. Tell us what you think. Tell us what you feel. Tell us your experiences. Tell us your topic ideas. We're open to everything. And while you're there, please support us. We would love your contribution to help us stay ad-free. That's it from us this week. We'll be back next week with another awesome topic. We are Bold and Blonde.
Mindset Evolution. Talk to you next time.